Okay, I had to go take care of a couple things and I'm back, so it's like 2 hours. But so I don't remember where I was at, so I'm gonna just back this up 10 seconds, and we'll get back to part 3.
Probably like most of the day. So I go in there and I load it with him. I load that one with him and I tell him, all right. So I said, all right.
I'm not sure who him is. Did I miss that, or has nobody asked the question on who him is? Let me go back. I'm running late, so I figured misfire. Oh, yeah. So she never says who him, and nobody asks. Perfect.
Loading that Henry with that stuntman for quite some time now. Probably like most of the day.
What stunt man? That might be a good question. Hey, idiot, wake up. What stunt man? What's his name? What was his job? Why was he in training? Did he have to shoot the gun in the scene?
So I go in there and I load it with him. I load that one with him and I tell him, all right. So I said, all right, you got about 13 quarter or half loads in there. I can't really remember what it was for that particular scene. That might have been, the actors were outside, so those were probably quarters. So I tell him you have about...
Probably quarters? Is there a way that you would know? Do you keep a log? I mean, on how many quarters you use and how many, when you buy them, do you replace? I mean, how many have you used on this film? How many quarters did you have? So if you had 50, did you use 4 on him or 5? Did you have 100? Give me some answers. Ask some questions, you big dummy.
13 quarter loads in there. And he said, is there one in the chamber? And I said, yes. And he said, okay. And I said, okay. So don't touch the trigger. And he was like, okay. And I walk out. And then I go up to Sarah and I said, hey, what happened? And she was like, I heard there was like a misfire, which is like the wrong terminology for it even. That's an accidental discharge.
So she's saying accidental. I say AD and accidental also. A lot of people want to get all technical. It's negligent. If you discharge, it's negligent. Quit calling it accidental. I don't care what you call it. Accident, negligent. The guy wasn't paying it. Whatever.
So I was like, I heard there was like a misfire or something. And she's like, yeah, I was loading it. And she's like, and it just went off. And I said, because I had to train her how to put them in and make sure that the hammer goes down gently enough. Because I asked her if she knew how to do that from Seth, and she's like, yeah, but let me just do it again a couple of times in front of you. And I saw her do it, and I was like, no. I was like, put your thumb all the way over the trigger. I mean, not the trigger, the hammer. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if you don't put it all the way over, your hands will be sweaty sometimes, and it'll slip. And so she...
What the hell? She's teaching them to put their palm over the trigger? How about not load one where the round's going to hit? Load it with 5 instead of 6. How about put your palm over where the hammer is? What the hell?
I was loading it, and I'm not exactly sure what happened. Like I said, I was in the bathroom, but guns don't just go off like that. And if you're loading it, it's most likely that you made a mistake just loading it and that the hammer came down too quick.
Okay.
And, when you're in a rush, that can happen. It hasn't happened.
That's why you don't get in a rush with guns. See, this would be a good time to ask. You said when you get in a rush, is there a reason they were in a rush? Yeah, we're on a time schedule. Okay. So was everything rushed? And when they're in a rush, is gun safety kind of take a back door? She would answer yes. See how the theme should go? Hey, pay attention, you big dummy.
To me, but I can understand it happening. And then as soon as that had happened and I walked outside and I was asking her about that, next thing I know, boom, inside of the fucking thing. And I already told him this gun was hot. I know for a fact I did, and we were doing that scene all day. So this man knows this gun is hot. And then
So he knew it was hot, and he's been doing the scene all day. How many times did he fire it? Why does he have a hot gun all day? I thought you just loaded the guns before the scene. Why would a guy have a hot gun all day? Hey, somebody freaking wake her up, dreaming about her next tattoo.
I go in there, and I said, what the fuck are you doing in here? And he tells me, he's like, I don't know, it just went off. And I was like, well...
It just went off. Yeah, that's how all these unloaded guns are killing people all the time. Yeah, he was cleaning an unloaded gun and it went off and killed him. Oh, okay. I got it.
It's a lever action rifle, and that's not really how that works, bud. You know. So, pissed him off a little bit, but I said, all right, be careful in here. Thankfully, we were doing that scene pretty much all day, so I think a lot of camera had their earplugs in, but...
It was inside when it went off, though?
It was inside of this, little shack that they were in, and most of the camera crew was in there at the time.
Okay.
No wonder the camera crew quit the day before. No wonder they were nervous. Hell, I'd be nervous.
Yeah, so that one was inside, and then there was also a popper misfire with special effects.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the day that we first started shooting and everything. We had pretty good luck with that. Every time.
Luck? Is that your plan? Luck is not a plan. Is pretty good luck your plan to hope nobody gets killed? Guess what? Your pretty good luck ran out. There's a dead woman now.
We got done with the scene. I count all the shots, so I know if there's still a hot gun on set. So I was looking for that, and most of the time I would just run to the actor and be like, don't touch it. It's hot still.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as when...
No follow-up questions. Nothing. I'm just reading the questions that somebody else gave me because I was too stupid to ask on the first interview, and now I'm too stupid to do any follow-up or figure out why I'm asking this. See, when you give somebody a question to ask, they don't even know what to look for. They don't even know why that question is being asked and what's it meant to elicit out of the person on what type of response do I want. Why am I this girl has not even the brains to figure out that when I read a question, I wonder what I'm looking for. I'll just read the questions, and after she answers, I'll say okay and move to the next question, and they'll call me a homicide detective. Ooh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Sarah's gun went off. Is that possible if you, drop the hammer too quickly that it can discharge?
Yeah, totally. And
Without
it was...
pulling the trigger?
No, that happens.
Who knows what the question was and what the answer was? These two idiots are both trying to figure out what's going on. Neither one of them really knows.
Well, see, that's the thing. No, so you have to pull the trigger in order to bring that hammer all the way down, So you have your finger on the hammer, and in order to get the hammer to release back to a position where the person could grab it and do the scene, you have to touch the trigger and slowly lower the hammer down. If you touch the trigger, it'll just send the hammer down. So if your finger isn't there to stop it while you're loading it, it's going to come down and shoot it.
Why are you loading it with the hammer back? Now, I know on these guns that you have to move the hammer back for the cylinder to rotate, and these are usually loaded one of two ways. Either you pull the cylinder out, and then you put it back in. It's not attached like on normal revolvers where it's got a yoke. Or it has a little loading port, and you open up the little, I forgot what it's called, loading latch or whatever. You open up that little thing, and it exposes one hole at a time, and you spin it. And in order for the cylinder to spin, you need to pull the hammer back. Not all the way, just a little bit.
So now I understand why that can... everybody has said that it happens often, of this kind of stuff. So
that totally can happen often, and it's just because ultimately you do have to lower down that hammer again. And
it doesn't happen often. I've loaded 100 guns that way, that type of gun, with live rounds, not blanks. And it's never gone off. Never. Rick, that's not fair. They're women and you got too high of standards and you just hate what? Shut up.
In order to start the scene, you can't give it to the actor talk back and everything, So yeah, and it's the same with a lot of even my 22. I have to do that as well. I'll bring it back. There's a little piece that stays back, and unless I hold that and slowly release it while holding my trigger, that would go off too.
Interesting.
So even my Walter P.
a lot about revolvers.
And that's just my Walter P22. That's not a revolver. That's just a regular magazine.
In order to load these, does the hammer have to be back?
It has to be half cocked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, and then you have to bring it back all the way, or you can bring it back from a half cock, but it helps to bring it back all the way and just bring it down slowly.
Okay.
It doesn't help to bring it all the way back, to bring it down slowly. At a half cock, it's got half as much power to cause a discharge. So there's no reason to pull it all the way back to pull the trigger. I think that's a bad training technique. I would never tell somebody you have to pull it back further in order to release it. That's not, I disagree.
After both of those accidental discharges, what happened? So,
Bad question. What happened? You're going to let her say. After the accidental discharges, were there any safety briefings? Did anybody discuss it? Did we go over what went wrong and why it should happen? Did we go over measures to prevent it? You didn't ask any of those questions. After the discharges, what happened? So she's just asking a question, and then she's going to let her answer and then say, okay, and I'll move to my next question. Great interview. A freaking monkey could go in there and point to the next question as good as this girl's doing an interview.
This day is kind of when Sarah and I butt heads. Because ultimately, like, after hers, I was livid. And then after that one, I was, like, furious. And so I tell her, I was like, no, dude. I was like, what just happened? And, like, I'm getting heckled by the fucking stuntman at this point. I said, no, dude, that, like...
Heckled. What does that mean? I know what she means, but I want her to say it. She means they're saying, hey, you're the armor. What the fuck's going on? Why is this happening on your ship? What are you doing? Why ain't you doing it? That's what she means by heckled. I know that. But I want her to say it. When you say heckled, what do you mean? What did they say to you? Well, they said I wasn't doing my job. Why would they say that? I mean, come on.
Like, wasn't okay. We need to talk to production about this because a lot of people are probably pissed about that because it happened within 10 minutes of each other, two of them. And I was like, oh my God. I literally screamed out, what the fuck is happening?
That always helps. Screaming out what the fuck happening, that helps. Not taking action, doing the log, stopping, saying this is unsafe, I'm pulling the guns until we have a safety briefing. No, none of that. I was just fucking pissed. That's how I fixed it. Oh, perfect.
But, so I told Sarah, I was like, hey, we should probably talk to production about that. And, like, Sarah is embarrassed at this point. She's shaking. Her face is, like, pretty mad. And she's not really responding to me too much. I said, well, like, you know, you did that while loading it. And I was like, so I'm not sure if people are going to want you loading the guns anymore. And she was like, well, yours just went off in there after you loaded it. And I said, yeah.
Oh, so the person that had an accidental discharge told the armorer that she had an accidental discharge, so she shouldn't listen to her. What a cluster of... I'm surprised more people didn't get shot. I mean, there is so much criminal liability on this set. It's amazing. I mean, it is just crazy.
Yeah, well, I can't be responsible for every dickhead fucking stunt guy that gets a hold of the gun and doesn't understand the concept that it's hot.
Right.
You know?
What do you mean you can't get... Why don't you main control the guns? Why don't you not give it unless you're there? What do you need... See, these are good questions. Do you need to be at every gun that's being handled? I mean, do they have guns in 4 different scenes happening at the same time? The answer is going to be no. So if there's only one scene happening with guns at one time, why don't you control the guns until the scene and give it to them? And she would probably say, well, that's the way it's supposed to work, but it didn't this time. Why didn't it work this time? Who told you not to do it that way? Do a freaking interview, you idiot!
And she was like, all right, well, so we'll go ahead. So I was like, we need to talk to production. I'll let you talk to them. I'm not trying to get us in trouble here. I'm just saying, like, we need to mind this because a lot of people are probably pissed.
Pissed? They ought to be fucking scared. If one of them would have been scared enough to fucking... I think they were scared enough, they quit.
The next thing I know, I get a text from Seth. So she was there. She was, like, mad, angry texting. And I thought she was probably talking to the producers. And the next thing I know, I get a text from Seth. And Seth tells me, Sarah told me about her accidental discharge. It was an accident. Accidents happen. You need to get over it.
Oh, so Steph, the guy that gets money from these people, she made a mistake. She did something she shouldn't. She went and cried to him. And so now he tells the armorer to mind your own business. This actually helps her case, that she had little control. Even if she didn't know her job and was freaking incompetent and shouldn't have been hired, she wasn't really allowed to do anything, even if she wanted to or was competent. So Oh, man.
And I said, get over it. I was like, what are you talking about? I said, I'm not making a big deal about this. I was like, I'm not going to production to rat on her. I don't know what the
Production of rat. What does rat on mean? I mean, this is these are all critical things that leave us to get in the bottom on why this failure and breakdown happened. I mean, this is just the worst freaking... I didn't think their first interview could be worse. This interview sucks. This girl is opening up so many doors that this idiot could walk through and get information, and she ain't saying a damn word. Are you kidding me? What do you mean, rat? Is reporting safety violations and danger to people, is that what you're calling a rat? Is trying to prevent somebody from getting killed when in fact somebody died? Is that what the company calls a rat? Are you not allowed to report? What's the reporting procedure? Is there a form? When you said you're not going to rat her out, does that mean you're supposed to tell somebody and you're not? I mean, where are the questions? Jesus.
fuck you're going on about.
So there was nobody from production in the area.
I think there was people from production in the area. I think there were.
What does that have to do with it? Where did that question? That question came from, I don't know what to say, so I'll just ask a stupid question. What does that... I don't even know who production is. I don't even know who the producers or how many producers. I don't know anything. And now this idiot comes up with a question. The one question she asked, nobody from production was there. What the hell does that have to do with anything?
Relate to the regular chubby producer. He was there, and I think Nathan might have even been there.
Chuck the chubby
regular
producer?
chubby.
Chuck the chubby. Wow. Chuck chubby. Chubby Chuck.
The producer, he was there, and I think Nathan might have even been there.
And nobody...
Who the hell's Nathan? Do we know who Nathan or the Chucky producer is? Was that ever asked? No. Did she write down Chucky, identify, who is this? No. Because she's just there staying warm.
We were there a lot. No one said anything. Sarah apologized on the spot, I guess. I didn't really apologize for that because I'm just trying to figure it out at this point, and I don't know what that guy did.
Who was the stuntman?
I don't even know his name. I think his name was Blake.
Oh, she finally asked a good question. Who shot the other round? Wow! She actually got some freaking information that wasn't written down for her. Holy shit. They need to make her the chief detective. She's getting a promotion now.
Yeah, they also didn't have me train him at all with the gun. And he's Alex's stunt double, mind you. So, you know, Alex's stunt double. So he probably should have at least been trained, but also Alan, the stunt coordinator, was like, all my guys know what the fuck they're doing, so don't worry about them. So, yeah, didn't get to work.
This is just a good old boy. Everybody does what they want. You can say what you want. Nobody cares. Nobody held responsible. We're all just spending money, making a movie, and the rules don't apply. Safety rules don't apply. No rules apply because we're Hollywood. Meanwhile, some innocent woman is dead and her kid's growing up without her mom. And these freaking idiots are in an interview room talking about freaking Hooters and how she rode a fucking horse. Are you kidding me?
With that guy. And back to like the Seth thing, I went up to Sarah about it and I was like, hey, I texted her and I was like, I'm sorry if you thought I was trying to start problems about this. I was just trying to say that we should tell production.
Everybody's kissing everybody's ass instead of doing their job. Everybody's more worried about keeping their job than doing their job. Meanwhile, an innocent woman is dead. Jeez.
Because I don't want, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we both got fired for that. I wouldn't, like, you know, we need to make sure that everyone still feels comfortable after that. And she said, she said, no, I understand. I contacted Gabby and Ro about it, and I went ahead and told Seth, and I apologized to everyone on the spot, and I think they're going to just move past this and move by it. And I was like, okay, cool, as long as you contacted the producers.
Okay.
Why does the producers have to be contacted? Is there a rule? Are they the one in charge of safety? Did they hire you? Do they pay you? Why do you say, as long as you contact the producers? Is it required that producers are notified anytime there's a we don't know any of those answers.
But
Other than
you
that-
didn't ever see her actually contact them.
No, I didn't. And also, at that point, I had already pissed her off, and she went to Seth about it, so I wasn't going to fuck with that anymore, and I just let her handle it.
Okay.
Because
and you didn't go to
ultimately
the
she-
dates yourself?
No, because she was my boss, and already...
Oh, so we know that one person's her boss. The one that had the accidental discharge. That's one boss. Wow.
was, yeah.
Okay. To your knowledge, do you know of any reports being made about those?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I have been wondering recently if...
So you ask them something that they have no idea about. Okay, I'm okay with that. Now you need to follow up. Is there supposed to be reports? Have you ever filed a report on a scene? Why didn't you file a report? Is there a report that you could have filed? Has all the times you work with your dad, have you ever seen him file a report on something like this? What is the proper protocol for filing reports? Is there a protocol? We'll never know because we got fiddle fack and fiddle dumb talking.
She did talk to them, and no one from production talked to us about it, which I thought was pretty weird. You know, like no one even said like, all right guys, like, you know, get your shit together. Like no one said anything to us.
Why is that weird? Does production normally discuss these things? Does production normally have safety briefings? Are they in charge of site safety? What? Where are the freaking questions?
At least to me directly.
Was, so when Sarah's went off,
What is she fiddling with?
what happened? Did you take the gun after that?
Did she get her own microphone because she can't freaking talk? Is that why? There's another tattoo. Besides the ones with up and down her arm.
Or what happened with it after?
After that, you know, we just had to keep loading it for the stunt guys, and ultimately, after hers went off, I didn't exactly have the option. We had 3 people that needed to be loaded right then.
Okay.
So I didn't exactly have the option to take Sarah off of guns that day. And also, she is my boss, so I'm
Did
not
she
allowed to
continue
take
to
her
load?
off of guns. Yeah.
She's my boss and I'm not allowed. That's critical information. So Sarah is allowed to be around the guns. You can't take her off the guns. And she had an accidental discharge and got mad at you for bringing it up. Have I got that clear? I would have. See, unless somebody's going to review this with a critical eye and start connecting the dots, you need to kind of summarize when you have a witness that isn't very good at painting a picture. The interviewer should be painting that picture and summarizing what's going on. She doesn't.
She does continue to load.
Okay. Even after that,
Yeah.
after her discharging. Who unloaded them that day?
Unloaded them from the blanks?
Yeah.
Both of us.
Okay.
Yeah, and we unload them as we get them in from the actor as soon as they're done doing the scene.
You and Sarah, though?
Yeah.
So we have a female producer that's her boss that hired a female. Neither one of them are competent with guns. The person that hired her has the armor expert, fired a gun accidentally because she don't know how to open it, and yet she's loading the guns for other people that don't know how to use a gun, and gets mad when the person that you hired that's supposed to be the subject matter expert corrects you about accidentally firing a gun. Somehow, in the middle of all this freaking fantastic controls and safety measures, a woman gets killed. Perfect. Who could have predicted that shit? Ray Charles saw that shit coming.
Pretty much any big gun battle in this entire thing, we were both loading and unloading the guns.
Pretty big gun battle. How many big gun battles do you have? How many were fired before this? My understanding, they were only out there for a week or two. Well, how many gun battles did you have? How many rounds? I still don't know. Like I said, every one of these interviews, I end up knowing less.
What about the special effects that squib or whatever that went off?
It was like a popper. I'm not sure if they had a squib go off. I never saw that. It's like a popper. It's like a thing that hangs from the...
That's where we heard the FX or something explosive. They had an explosive device go off. That's what you're referring to if you didn't watch the other videos. So on top of the accidental gun charges, somebody accidentally set off an explosive device. And I think that's where she's asking about. Not asking very good. What is it? Why would it go off? Who did it? Are you responsible for that? Who sets those up? I doubt we're going to find out any of that, but at least you brought it up.
Had a squib go off. I never saw that. It's like a popper. It's like a thing that hangs from the ceiling, and it's filled with like little debris and things like that. But they were all supposed to go off for a scene, and one didn't go off. And then like maybe 2 minutes after the scene, it just like randomly went off, and people were like, "Oh."
Oh, so it sounds like it's nothing but like a little party popper. You pull it, it makes a bang, and it shoots out confetti to give the impression that things are blowing up. And one went off late, so it could have been a faulty fuse. Who set those up? Who's responsible for setting them up? Who's responsible for checking those? Don't they check them after they put them out, or they just hang them everywhere, and if 5 don't go off, they just leave them hanging? Is there any type of rules? Is that in part because it involves explosive? Is that part of your responsibility? We'll probably won't get the answer to any of those, but maybe she'll surprise me.
Oh shit. But we were outside, so it wasn't too bad, you know?
Were you present so you weren't present when it went off?
The popper?
Yeah.
I was present.
Okay.
I was outside, and I was a little,
See, it was a bad question. You weren't present. She meant, were you next to it or in the same room? That's what she meant. And the girl goes, no, I was present. So she thinks, yeah, I was outside. Neither one of these idiots know how to communicate.
maybe 20 feet away from it.
Okay.
I wasn't directly on the porch, so a lot of people on the porch were obviously freaked out, but I was pretty far away.
Okay. Do you know if any reports were made for that one?
You keep asking her if she knows, and then you don't get the information that she does know that you can get information from. So whether or not she knows a report was made is kind of irrelevant. Did you do a report? Is a report supposed to be made? Is it normal that reports are made? If they were made, who would have been responsible for doing it, and who would they have sent it to? That would have been a question. What a freaking idiot.
For that popper? Oh, I have no idea. I know, especially if it's not my department. I wouldn't really know about it. I didn't make any reports.
So she read her question, no follow-up, no nothing. She'll flip to the next page. Whoever, if the person who wrote these questions watched this video, he's going to know, damn, this guy's really good at knowing what an incompetent idiot she is, and I had to write all these questions, and she's too stupid, even when I give her the questions, to conduct a reasonable interview. That's my next question.
And I just want you to confirm, were guns ever taken out after hours, on lunch, on days off?
These guns absolutely were locked up every single moment. That me and Sarah were not there, to my knowledge.
Okay.
That was a pretty good answer. That was a good answer from her. These guns were positively, absolutely locked up.
Locked up every single moment.
Every single moment.
Me and Sarah were not there.
Me and Sarah were not there, to my knowledge. That's a great answer. She came off very, I understand. I locked it up. There ain't no way this happened. To my knowledge, it gives her a way out in case somebody comes up with a video later saying, this person has a gun and you were there. Why wasn't it locked up? I already think that's not true because they weren't locked up. Oh, when we were not there. Okay. So maybe when they're not there, they were locked up. That doesn't change. Were you there and other people shot? You were there when somebody shot in another room. You were there when you were in a bathroom and somebody shot. So the fact that they were locked up when you weren't there is one thing. How are they controlled when you were there?
Okay.
Including lunch every day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back to that accidental discharge with Sarah, I know you said that you weren't there, you were in the bathroom.
Yes. I was there for the second one.
Okay.
With the stuntman.
And is it okay for you to walk off when they have...
It's okay. Sometimes, like I said,
This was kind of a Millie Mouse good question. It should have been more... She wants to back her in a corner and say, is it normal for you, even though you're there, to leave guns that are loaded with other people, or to have people handling guns when you're not there? That's the way I would have asked it. She asked it pretty mealy-mouthed, and now this girl's going to have to give her dissertation, whatever, and she's not going to question her or stop her. She hasn't stopped her in one answer and said, when you said this, what do you mean? Who is they? I still don't know who they are, and I still don't know what a ton of producers is.
We were doing a lot of gun battles that whole entire day, and ultimately there was only 2 people shooting at the time, and I told Sarah, I was like, I need to use the bathroom right now or I'm literally going to piss my pants. And it's
So what is normal procedure when the armorer has to leave the set? Is it normally that they stop and wait for you to get back? Is there a procedure for that? Do you not normally leave? What? I don't know any of this, because I have an idiot sitting there with a freaking pen looking like she's interviewing.
I told Dave that I was going to the bathroom too. So if I tell them I step off, and they know that.
Okay.
Okay.
Because ultimately, you know, you can't.
Doesn't ask anything. Okay. Okay, great. I asked the question they told me to ask.
Hold it sometimes.
All right, I'm at 31 minutes. We'll go to part 4.